2, 1.
You are live, Rosie. Brittany, thank you for being here, everybody.
You're welcome. Guys, this is my favorite.
Hi everyone, Rosie Hayer with Rivet Real Estate. Today I'm going to bust a truth. Both Roger and Brittany actually got to attend a training and educational workshop where they actually are very well prepared for the call than I am. And so in case it sounds like they're going to throw truth bombs and I'm just listening in, just know they cheated. They attended a class together and they left me behind.
Oh,
No,
nice.
I don't say we left her behind. She chose not to attend.
Mm.
Roger?
Yes.
No, nothing.
Don't scratch your head, Rosie.
I didn't choose to be behind. I was doing something better.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna do the intro now.
Go ahead.
Okay, so first off, we're excited to be here as always. We love sharing real estate insights and providing you with real investment strategies. We start the show by typically going over Austin and the surrounding areas. We'll move alphabetically from Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and then we take a look at our very special handpicked properties all across the region. This is where you want to pay extra close attention because if you like what you see, you want to make sure to reach out to us and start the conversation with us. So who's this show for? The show's for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or someone looking to buy their dream home. At Rivet, we feel like every real estate purchase is an investment into your future. The show is also for other real estate professionals because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. With that, let's get started.
I just have one question. So the books behind you were vertically aligned. Now they're horizontally aligned. And I see a random box.
Box. Okay. You can clearly see the cleaning person. I'm not going to rearrange except for this box here because, guys, what is this?
This is what the show is really about.
Yeah, Rosie's obsession with my background.
I'm going to take those books away. All right. Well, I'm excited. So I know you guys have some real good stuff that you want to share. And I am going to share something very different this week. I'm going to actually go into one of our cities and show people how to predict the market in today's year, like 2024. A lot of people ask me questions about, hey, market is slow or not. We have literally sold 95% of our listings by now. And one or two that are there, we do have a very good reasoning behind it on how we are strategizing. So I will go into that. But before that, I would love to hear what you guys brought to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bree and I both visited one of our local title companies here, and Chicago Title. And we gone over there and collected all this information. Now, Bree, and I'm sure you and I probably have identical notes.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. What's one of the things that really jumped out to you about the event?
To me, well, so let's tell everyone what the event was. It was TXDOT, the guy who is in charge of the Austin area. He came together and shared with us what are the projects that they are working on for the Austin spectrum of everything. So we got to kind of get a lot of insight on what's coming.
You guys want to tell everyone what TXDOT is?
But hold on, before we go forward, because Brittany just really shed light on an important thing. What is it? And I just want to say, I really think that for everyone out there that wants to make a savvy decision or base it upon like future, like securing their investment or thinking of their purchase as an investment, I really think the consumer out there is underrepresented. Because first off, TXDOT is the Texas Department of Transportation. And so one of the largest influences on our real estate values is new roadways and the ease and access at which we can arrive to our home, right? Who wants to live in a property that's completely inaccessible? But from judging from, and not necessarily judging, but just taking a look at, because we had a ton of questions. Brittany and I were really curious about how all of this stuff influences the market. And both of us, I think our consensus was that the agents are probably there for, the free lunch, because I'm sorry to say that, I really didn't feel like there were any questions or curiosities. And I don't think the agent community really recognizes what this really means for their buyers. I mean, again, I know I'm coming off a little judgmental, but I mean, just judging by the questions that were in the room, I really feel like this conversation could have been expanded, so much more.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There's still a lot of great.
I do want to quickly pick on one thing a little bit deeper, what you just said. You said you generally think the consumer in today's market is underrepresented. And what does it mean? Like, I want to make sure that our consumer understands what does representation truly means. And what differentiates one person than the other person? Like, if you're hiring an attorney, right? And I'm very passionate about this because once I wrap up what I'm about to say next, you're going to get to see how Roger and Bree have spent intensely valuable time of their day to collect this information. They're not paid for it. They're not compensated or incentivized for it. This is their commitment to show up as the expert in the market. This is what a real estate professional is ought to do for their business, for their people. And a lot of people, I go out there and I look at the industry, right? And oftentimes a consumer makes a decision based on how much somebody's going to charge for their services, or what price have they quoted for them to list or sell the property, or on the buy side, how much kickback they can be given. And it's very unfortunate that happens, because when I look at the journal statistics of what happens in the market, I was taken aback. I was like, why is it that people make decision based on just the fees and the price of the property they're going to be listing at? And quite frankly, I now understand why. The reason it happens is because that's the only tangible thing a consumer can compare. If you're going to go buy a car today, you can actually go on carfax.com. There are plenty of resources out there where you can plug in two cars and look at the benefits and features, apples to apples. Like, two columns would be there. You're going to see the green checks on what car is offering what services. But you don't have a way to compare somebody like that in real estate, because it's almost like hiring an attorney. It is an experiential decision. So oftentimes people end up making decisions that are the byproduct of the work they do. They hire people on the symptoms, not on the cause. So what makes somebody great? So today, when we say underrepresented, not underrepresented. Underrepresented is because what is somebody bringing to the table other than price they list for or the fees they charged? Are you really able to guide your people to do the right thing? Because this is a never-ending education and training that we have commitment for life until we do real estate. So please take it away. I thought I would just quickly highlight on what it meant to be underrepresented.
Yeah, and I'm underrepresented perhaps in total agent count that was there, because this is advertised to the city, and I want to thank Bree for pointing it out, that the event was happening and bringing it to my attention, because it's very exciting. And then second, I felt like we were asking 80% of the questions. And so again,
I'm so proud of y'all.
Yeah, this is definitely not about judgment. It's about curiosity, and then taking a look at who the competition is, and the aspects of what happens when someone uses another broker or agent to get the same results. So they may not get those results because that curiosity I felt like wasn't there. And that's not to speak on everybody. There were a few very intelligent souls there. But
And
Bree,
it's going to sound like, anybody watching this webinar later on, they're going to like, they're tooting their own horn. They're making it sound like you need us. Without us, you're not going to go anywhere. Look at us. We're so much better than others. No,
yeah,
don't believe us for our word. Put us on match face to face. Let's talk. Right? After all, this has to fit both ways. Like a consumer has to be someone who generally values this information. Otherwise, this is not a good fit. We work 90% of our clientele by word of mouth. And before we take away time from our people who are so trusting of us and give it to new client, it's almost like you go to a doctor's office. Do they have time for taking new patients, or are they just working the ones they already have and they're taking their word of mouth first, right? So it is very important that we take care of people who have already trusted us. So on that note, Bree, thank you so much for letting me go on the tangent for a minute, but I'm excited on what you guys learned.
Can
So
I
Bree,
share the one thing that I was like, whoa?
yeah.
You're not going to share your dream, right?
No.
Don't do that.
That's the next podcast. Just kidding. So one thing that we had learned was that they are spending $4.5 billion on this project. And Roger asked a really good question. He said, what was another project? Like, what was the most expensive project that y'all had spent on before? It was only $500 million.
Yeah.
So the most they have spent up till now is $500 million. Now they're going at 4.5 billion.
On a
For
project.
everybody, can you quickly tell what TXDOT is? Because people are going to be like, what is TXDOT? I don't want them to have to Google it.
So Bree, you mind if I share? Okay, so it's a Texas Department of Transportation, and they're responsible for keeping our roadways at a certain standard, right? And this is something that also wasn't covered in the program, but they're one of the highest ranking DOTs, which is Department of Transportations in the nation, one of the most efficient and with the best roadways. So Texas actually enjoys some of the best roadways in the whole nation. And this particular person that was sharing all the information with us, Brad, is responsible for 9,400 square feet, 9,473 square miles of Texas roadways, which expands here from the Austin region down to San Antonio and over west to El Paso. So
Beautiful.
we were there for more information regarding Houston and Dallas, but he didn't really have information on those areas because he doesn't work those areas. And so going forward in the future, I did make a request with Chicago Title. They said, is there anything else that could help you out? I said, well, we would definitely want more information on those other areas that weren't covered here today. But with that being said, TXDOT has spent over $100 billion on keeping up the roadways in the past 10 years. That's what we spent just in the past 10 years.
And they have more money to spend for the next 10 years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So first of all, why would somebody spend money on transportation? What are they preparing for?
Two reasons. Whoa.
I am so envious of you with these balloons.
I'm
We don't
glad
have
somebody.
that. We don't have that. Like, I don't understand.
Okay.
See?
So there's two reasons why they would spend money. TXDOT would spend money on roadways. Number one is safety. Number two is congestion.
Wow. So they're anticipating congestion, and that's why they're expanding. I wonder what that congestion implies.
They work with the metropolitan planning organizations of those cities to
Yeah.
get accurate numbers of what's going on there and if the project is worth doing for the future.
Yeah.
Like, is it an area that's diminishing, and maybe would it make sense to expand the roadways over the next 20 years? Or is it an area that's experiencing exponential growth?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And what does you to hit on a good point? What does congestion mean?
Bree, what does it mean?
Asking us? Or you?
Yeah, Rosie said something. She said, "Well, I wonder what that congestion means." And I would say that it probably means higher values, higher real estate values, more amenities coming to the area.
Oh, what would be what would be a mammalian brain answer?
More traffic, more people,
Yeah,
That's exactly
more
right.
people, yeah.
more.
Higher demand.
Yeah.
Well, we were having Bree share everything, and all of a sudden you took over in between.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have
Yeah,
a bad habit.
yeah.
Go ahead, Raji. When we get to the projects, I can talk a little bit.
No. That's fine. I was just going through the notes. Is there something that really appealed to you or struck you, Bree, about? Let's just go from there.
So there were three things. Basically, down 35, they're working on three different projects. There's a north, a central, and a south project. Okay. So the north project that they're working on is I-35 from Georgetown to Round Rock, kind of like 29 area to 45 north. Okay. And what they're doing, and they're kind of doing this in south and central. So like everything is kind of the same, but they're just chunking it out. But they're basically adding two non-tolled managed HOV lanes in each direction.
Non-toll?
Non-tolled.
Non-told.
It's on 35?
Yes.
It's almost like they are honoring the grandfather
Yeah.
because 35 is the most ancient highway in Austin. It's an interstate highway, and it would be it would be offensive if they added a tollway on an interstate. Yeah, because why should we be the only one paying for it? Every other state should pay for it too, then, because they're passing through.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say here is that it is understandable why Mopac, which is Highway 1, which is a loop within the city, has HOV because they're trying to loop the traffic around quicker. I can understand why 45 was a loop to connect east and the west. But interstate, ooh, non-toll, ha ha ha. We are taking 35 from here on. And you were saying?
We're taking. Are we going to take 35? Okay. Maybe when everything's completed. Okay. I don't know about now.
Bree, you're so funny.
They're going to
Oh,
be adding a lot of adding flyovers, adding bypass lanes in each direction. Basically, they're adding so many different things that they're really trying to, like Roger said, relieve that congestion that's coming to the city from all of the growth that we're experiencing. And my favorite part, Roger, I just have to say my favorite part was
yeah.
on the CapEx Central project. That's what they're spending the 4.5 billion on. So Rosie, they're removing the upper decks. On 35, the upper and lower. Like
Yeah.
They're removing the upper decks. The main lanes are going to be below ground level.
The tunnel?
But they're going to be small tunnels. It's not going to be a continuous tunnel, but they're doing small tunnels. And what's even more cool is that across the bridges, and they're starting one on the first one, I think was what, MLK,
Yeah.
right? MLK, but they're going to be expanding the bridges that are kind of going east to west. And they're not expanding them for the cars. They're expanding them for walkways and pedestrians. And they're going to have like green space with shaded areas. So it will become a lot more walkable.
Yeah, because the whole downtown is very walkable. Like everything is there. And the only reason people are not walking is because there are no walkways. You feel unsafe. So that's what safety meant when you guys said they're trying to handle safety and congestion. Because you know what? Two things. If bike riders can have their own lane, pedestrians can have their own lane, and you know what? Our CapEx people can have their own lane too. Because the moment a CapEx metro stops to drop people off, the whole traffic backs up. And it's not fair to them or us. They
So
should be able to drop people off quickly and go.
there's a stunning. First off, there's a lot of excitement from this because we haven't even got to the meat and bones yet. There's even more exciting stuff. Okay, But one of the stats, Bree, that I thought was most interesting was that I-35 is the backbone of Texas, is how he phrased it.
Mhm.
So he says that the majority of the state didn't give us a percentage, but the majority of the state lives within 100 miles of I-35.
Majority of the state?
I thought he gave a percentage, but maybe I was.
Oh, I would have noted it because I was
Yeah,
really curious.
yeah, he did say that.
Keep going. I'm listening.
Okay, wait. Can I just say more about so the central
Please.
the central program that they're doing? So basically, you're going to go underground for the freeway, right? But on top of it, they're working with the city to basically cover the top, and it would basically be green space. So on top of that green space, and this is what they're working with the city on, what does the city want to put there? Because when they're building it, they have to make sure they can support the infrastructure of that. So things like having food trucks, a standalone restaurant, a park, a splash pad, a place for you to do outdoor community yoga. And they compared it to, I think it was called Clyde Warren Park in Dallas.
Mhm. And they said it'd be like a destination.
Somebody,
People would actually wanna go
somebody
there.
Google that and share everybody. What is a Clyde Warren Park in Dallas looks like?
Okay, here.
And the Clyde Warren Park hosts weddings and that sort of thing. And
Wow.
Y'all see this?
What? So this is going to be on the top, and at the bottom it's going to be tunnels. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
So they have a lot of events.
number of events. Nice. Well, you know what also I'm really excited about is the underpasses. It's a little bit of time for you to escape the
Oh wow,
sunlight.
look at those beautiful, oh, outdoor movies and everything.
Mhm.
Well, they're just becoming more community, like downtown
Full
already
event.
is so
Yeah.
much full of like all the events that happen there. Like I am so impressed at the vision, and also it's going to improve the skyline.
Well, the city of Austin is actually picking up the tab on that part
Yeah.
because TXDOT doesn't fund those types of things. They only fund road construction. But they're really trying to wrap their mind around this because they said people weigh more than cars when you consider
When you
density.
put them, yeah, when you put them together.
What?
The guy was saying that the density of a bunch of people in one area weighs more than like a car, right? So like if we have a lot of people together, that's going to weigh more than, a couple of cars, right?
Oh, they're gonna have to build a thick park.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varun says he enjoys it, and he said there's a fountain that shoots up 1,000 feet high into the air,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
it's a great place for kids,
I want to
adults.
ask Varun, does he go to splash pad? He has to type yes if he did.
Yeah, have you gone to the splash pad, Varun? That's exciting.
Uh, let me know
So
what he
Rosie
says.
and Bree, I really like the idea how they're actually taking some intersections like Palmer, and I haven't been to that intersection. I didn't notice it, and I know all this stuff is recent in that area. He says there's a way for you to skip the lights. Like if let's say you wanted to get off on Howard, there is on and off ramps that keep you from sitting in the lights at Palmer. Have you guys experienced that? Maybe that's the vision? Is it already in place?
I haven't seen it in place, but I don't think I've taken that route. What was that? What he was calling the DDI, the Divergent Diamond Interchange?
Yeah. Well, I think the DBI divergent
Or was that?
interchange. I think I have been out there, but okay, that's the Palmer. That's the divergence on Palmer. That's all recent. And so next time I go down there, I'm going to try to turn off to Howard and see if I can just skip the lights. But they're
Yeah,
doing more stuff like that to stop congestion.
yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful.
And they're
And
also.
huh?
Go ahead, Rachi. I
No,
was
no,
gonna
no.
say
You please.
they're also on town. Oh, Lady Bird Lake. Sorry, native Austinite here calling it Town Lake. Um, on Lady Bird Lake, the East Pedestrian Bridge, they're basically kind of taking that down because you know how it's the bridge and the walkway, you're literally walking like on the side with all of the cars. They're lowering that pedestrian bridge so that there's separation between the cars and the people. And then they're gonna have it's gonna, I wish we had a picture. It's gonna bump out a little bit too. So if people want to sit and watch, the kayaks or the bats or whatever, they can do that from that bridge without.
Oh, because otherwise it's right on the road.
Yeah.
And it's very looks dangerous sometimes with all the traffic going by.
Yeah. So that was one project that they were going to start working on too. And they've been doing a lot of work on the South project, CapEx South. That's set to finish in 2028-ish.
Let me see if I have a picture of what they're talking about. Okay, this is a really good picture. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. So this will be one of the areas that they're going to do the CapEx project. Can you see this, Rosie? This will be MLK.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at how much sidewalk space is there. And for the CapEx metro trains to drop off and keep going, they have already developed close to what area is that we already saw it? Close to 2nd and 1st Street. Remember when we go there at night and go for walks and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to do this on MLK, which is beautiful because that's
Okay.
that
So
livability there.
this is what Bree was talking about. The lowered area off of 35 so that you're not walking next to the cars.
What a beautiful way to walk around the highway and not be threatened.
Yeah, because Brad shared that he walked across there once and he was like, okay, he says he sees the statistics of how many people get hit by cars and that he didn't want to do it again. And so, like, this is a little bit more pedestrian friendly. And, Lady Bird Lake is already really friendly, pedestrian friendly, but I think adding these kind of amenities only makes the city more appealing to people, Yeah. And maybe we can catch a little shade from under the highway right here.
Okay. And you were saying
I didn't have any more on Roger, any more on CapEx before we get to.
Yeah, I only have one or two other things. One is that they're taking the local bat community and they're finding ways to relocate them. And they said it's super simple. The structures that because when they get rid of all this, it is a natural concern for us to think of the wildlife and how that's going to be impacted. So they're building structures nearby that would facilitate the bats. And after all, we're batshit crazy here in Austin. So,
well, they're moving them to Walnut with the homes that they're building. They're taking them and they're moving them to Walnut Creek Bridge. Mm-hmm. Because that area is better facilitated for bats. It has the perfect amount of space for them to have their
habitat.
Yeah, but it wasn't as good as where they currently are.
Also, one last thing before we move on, they are working with Cap Metro to facilitate the trains, and I'd love to share that image here with you guys. And I thought this was really cool because if Cap Metro's project goes through, this is the same Cap Metro that'll be riding all the way down to the airport, right? So if it rides down to the airport and they have these spaces cut out for it, I could see us becoming a more pedestrian-friendly city, and that just
and there will be cars driving right around it.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Oh, so yeah, what they called this was called a spewy.
Oh,
a spewy.
Yeah.
Basically, this light that you see right there, that manages the whole thing of that whole area, but it helps to cut down traffic as well.
Oh yeah. I don't think people can put people in one car, but they can put everybody in one train.
Well, that was another thing they were saying. The reason why they're having these adding these HOV lanes is so that way non-tolled, so that way they can, start to make it more appealing for people to ride to work together or take the bus, take the train, so that we do have less congestion
Yeah.
on the road.
Congestion and safety. This is beautiful. I'm so excited about the way city is going to look. And now people are wondering, what does it mean in real estate? Why are we discussing all of this? First of all, we got to understand one thing. The only time a city will think about congestion and safety is because there are more people coming here and they're accommodating for it in future. So that's a number one sign that they are planning for the future to come in, regardless of what market is saying right now. The future is indicative. Nobody is going to spend $4.5 billion on doing all of this and have nobody moving in. They anticipate this growth. And the second thing is safety. A lot of people who are moving in from places like California, New York, and Boston, their walkability score is much higher than Texas. And to make it favorable for people to be here, and rather than having to commute every day for work, they got to make it easier for the workforce to go to the employer and maintain the quality of life. And I think getting rid of traffic is the number one indicative of it. So they are making it appealing for the end, for the interstate relocation, period.
Yeah.
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 They're
Now
also
this is it's supposed to be. Is this supposed to run till? It's a 10-year project, right?
It's a 10-year project on everything. So they said it will take about 10 years of, weather permitting, supply permitting, things of that nature. They were also discussing, they're working on something between Austin and San Antonio too. Right now, they're working on strategy. What are the problems to then find out what are the solutions from Austin to San Antonio? But that's going to be within their next thing. But they also have to work with both cities and both TXDOT agencies because they're
Yeah.
different. There's an Austin region and a San Antonio region.
And I was surprised, Brie, at how far the Austin region extends to. It goes all the way to the shopping outlets in San Marcos. That's how far it extends.
Yeah.
And that's right where I think they said there's a bit of a over gap or over, what do you call it? Overlay between Austin and San Antonio. I can only imagine how much more complexity that creates with having two governing bodies over one decision,
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I would love to talk about Bree. Rune brought up a good point because he's saying there's some expansion going on and the Hayes County, Buda area and more homes coming to those areas. And we can save that information for the very end. Did you want to talk about 360 and the 360? I thought project was really exciting.
Yeah.
Westlake area.
360 project, all of those remaining traffic signals that they have on 360, they are working on doing an over or underpass. So they're going to have to do one each, it's going to be broken down, but they're working on removing all of those traffic signals down 360. And the one that they're already working on
what
is
a smart thing to do.
I know.
Because we always thought, are they going to build a flyover? How are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? But I'll tell you what's really exciting about that, Bree. And what's really exciting to me is I always thought about it. I said, that's some of the most expensive real estate and the highest generation of wealth in that area, right? 360. And I was like, how are these people putting up with all the traffic? Because if I go down 360 to Westlake, there's a cigar shop there. And if I was there with my brother a month ago and we're wanting to come back home, and it was 45 minutes that we had to sit in traffic from Westlake back to the house.
Wow.
And now with those lights being taken out, and what I really admired about the whole thing was that he said the residents there are so on board that they're making the process really easy, because most times.
And a lot of restaurants and other development has not come in that area because of the traffic. If you think about it, it has been over 10 years. We haven't seen any more restaurants come over in that area. Like, we need moving. A congestion doesn't mean a happy person getting off the highway and saying, let me enjoy a meal. How many people are going to avoid that way of going and enjoying a dinner with their family on an evening, knowing how much traffic they have to deal with?
Or how many people decided not to buy a home there that could afford to live there?
They're not wanting to deal with that extra commute.
And
Second traffic.
once it's all built out and easy to get in and out of, I can imagine those real estate values appreciating quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some projects that they were delaying, or they actually decided not to complete because the funds were not available. They wanted to prioritize capex, as Bree is saying, the $4.5 billion, and then they took money away from other projects to complete this. But now that money is coming back online, so we'll start to see projects in the Lakeway area and other projects resuming.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects off of 620 that they're working towards too. They had ready to go, but they allocated the funds to capex, but now they're kind of moving back towards it, which is nice because 620 is another beast with all of the lights and all the traffic, especially during peak
That's
hours.
another 360 of Lake Travis area. Yeah.
Yeah.
620 arriving at 183 is the worst.
Yeah.
So, but I have noticed it die down here after the pandemic a bit. I don't know who those people are that were traveling that road before. Maybe it was high tech people commuting.
Hmm.
But I did realize a bit of a. I mean, of course, that's the case everywhere. But anyways, moving forward.
Yeah. Um, I think that's all yeah, that's all that was really there except for the last part.
Yeah. So I mean, look, there's expansions happening everywhere, and I emailed Brad and I'm asking him a few more questions and who he can put us in contact with for Houston and the Dallas specific areas, the areas he doesn't cover, so that we can get more insight into other expansion projects throughout the city. But one of the questions we asked him was where our investors and people in general, our clients love when there's expansion, roadway expansion going from 2 to 4 lanes, because anytime that happens, it means more amenities coming into the area. It means a lesser commute, because anything over 20 minutes commute starts to impact the quality of life, and real estate values start to go up whenever there's a bit of ease coming into the area and more amenities. And I said, what areas does he know that fit into that category? And so that's when he highlighted Hayes County, Buda, Kyle area. And I think Bree, if you can share with us
Yeah, he said that Hayes County has the #1 growth in all of the country.
Wow.
Number 1 growth in all the country. And they're projecting 267% growth to 2045. 267% growth. So then he started talking about Kyle and Buda and just some things that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Remember when we talked about the opportunities there and we talked about Project Tesla there? He was highlighting that. He was talking about Amazon. So all of the things that we had said in previous webinars, he was saying the same thing. So it kind of just reaffirmed that those areas have a lot of growth and potential growth that are.
And we have been asking our investors to consider the brand new Buda duplexes that we have brought in on the market before.
Yep.
And this is what Gerald looked like before. Gerald was a duplex community from 356,000 to 476,000. So I think people have, what I'm amazed about is that people always need social proof.
Yeah.
Most people are afraid to be the first one to pull the trigger. They need someone else to go first and then they come behind it. But then you have to pay the price for it.
Then you have to pay the price. Exactly.
You know what's most exciting about this to me? That it's anticipated growth. And because of that, I think Kyle and Buda are doing a really fantastic job, especially with the project where the where they're carving out the path to connecting all the residential areas with all the commerce. And so you can actually ride your golf cart on those widened paths. And, I don't know, that's exciting to me.
Roger wants to go get a golf cart now.
Yeah. I'll let Rosie drive.
Rosie, why is
I'm not interested. You can have it all. I am not. You know what? Yeah.
I might have a drink or two, let her deep drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Equal.
like Deep to drive, our son to drive. So, um,
There we
actually,
go.
yeah.
Now Rosie's happy. Oh, she just didn't want to
Now
share.
she's happy.
What it was.
Yeah,
Now
I need
it's a
somebody
good
else
idea.
because we get in this intelligent conversation in the car and then we have a disagreement on our findings and research, and then we can't get out of the car because we're on the highway. And now we have to sit with each other and come to an agreement. Golf cart?
Golf cart, yeah, you can just get out.
Jump off.
Great.
See, esta mañana. I don't have to take it anymore.
I'm walking
Okay.
home.
So before we go, right, today it's gonna look like such a U-turn what I'm about to say next from the conversation you guys have built up, right? And I also want to kind of spend a little bit of time to help people educate on how to really observe the market when you're selling properties. Knock on the wood, we have had almost all our listings go under contract except one or two, and people often wonder, okay, actually, you know what? I want to be honest with you. 2 weeks ago, I went on a client appointment and I didn't get hired. I didn't get hired. And I'm so glad I didn't get hired because when I saw the property go on the market 3 weeks later, they're at a way higher price than I had anticipated on the appointment. And if
Well, it's
that's
definitely not going to sell at that price.
Mm-mm.
There's better homes in better condition selling at a better price.
exactly, but clearly there was a bias on the decision based on the price, right? So I'm not going to quote a high price to someone just to get the job. When I'm going to be helping people, the values we stand is that we got to tell people what they deserve to hear. There are enough people in the market who are willing to just stick sign in a yard and hope it sells or not sells, right? Because the sign calls from the buyers are going to always come in. I'm not one of them, right? If we cannot back up our number, how am I supposed to negotiate that number? So today I'm going to go deeper into a quick 3 to 5 minute analysis that every homeowner, this is where we call it they're underrepresented. And this is the same conversation we have with our buyers when we are helping them strategize on how to write an offer. So it's not an emotional decision where, oh, you know what, you're on the market at 450. Oh, let's just knock the price down by $45,000 because you know what, market is a little bit easier and sellers are motivated. Let's just negotiate. You can do that on the listings that are $45,000 higher, but you cannot do it on the listings that are not $45,000 higher. Just because market is slower doesn't mean you can just chop 10% off the sales price. There's a certain criteria you have to follow. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring up this information to you guys and pick a very common price point range that we are used to dealing with in our market. All right, let me know if you guys can see my screen once I have it because I won't be able to see y'all's faces. How do you present? Okay, right here.
So you're going to give us an example of pricing property?
Yeah.
Ah,
Can y'all see my screen?
we can
Yes.
see it.
All right. So what I'm about to do is today I'm going to pick a very common city like Pflugerville. Can we all agree it's a pretty common city where people live? And most of the time people are buying homes here because they got good schools, they got food, restaurants, retail. It's a great location. It's close to Tesla. It's close to Amazon. It's off of 132 away and it is booming and busting. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So whenever people are buying a decision, let's suppose somebody is selling between 4 to 500 range. Bree, would you agree that's a pretty common range for homes to be sold? Like this is the price point where most of the homes are transacted.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so this is the price point where most of the homes would be buying and selling in Pflugerville area. So what we do is, let's suppose we are about to sell a property or you're a homeowner and you're considering to sell the property in today's market. Because it's a good time to buy, it's also important that you're able to sell. And for you to be able to sell, you got to read the market for what it is. So how one should be reading in today's market is that any home that is in 4 to 500 range, let's look at how they are behaving. And for us to understand that, there are a lot of factors that we as real estate professionals have access to, and we analyze and we write it down and interpret it for you before you write an offer or you put the property on the market. So let's look at a time frame from January of 2023 till today. And the reason I go back almost a year is because we need to see how this year is behaving compared to the last year. So, are you guys with me so far? Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the very first thing we got to look at is how many active listings have we experienced from January of 2023 to July of 2024, from 400 to 500 range. So, when I click generate on it, there's a bigger graph. It's hard to read. So, I'm going to take you to data. Now, active listings means how many homes are active on the market in that price point 2023 versus 2024. So if you look at it, this year consistently during the first quarter, we had almost half the inventory than what it was last year, half the active number of listings as they were last year. But in May, June, and July, there are more active listings that's starting to pop up compared to last year. So can we agree that anybody who's selling in May, June, and July has more competition in 2024 than 2023?
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So when a homeowner is looking to sell, or if a buyer is willing to buy, a buyer has more options. They can actually sniff around, negotiate around, and a seller has to watch out for these extra active listings. That's one thing we look at. Second thing we want to look at is what is the average days on the market? Are they going up or are they going down? Look at this.
Wow.
In 2023, I'm talking about the price point that transacts very actively. In 2023, January 46 to 48, 103 to 109, very well maintained, right? But look at April, May, June, July data. We were 90, 33, 67, 87. Please don't think July is the data yet. We're not over in July. So this is a little biased. But look at this. In June, we went from 61 average days on the market to 34 average days on the market.
Wow.
In April, from 90 to 10. Now in May, we're 30 to 52. Now this is questionable. This is questionable because in April, we had such lower days on the market. That means more inventory might have popped up and now the days have gone up.
Mhm.
Make sense? So
Mhm.
now active listings and current days on the market is what we have looked at. Now the next thing we look at is close to list price ratio so that we understand what things go on the market for and what they actually sell for. Now, rather than looking at the list price, I like to look at original price and I'd like to show the difference between the list price and the original price. Now, original price is what listing originally came on the market for, and list price could be the price of the property it was listed at when it got an offer.
Mm.
Okay, so let's quickly look at the list price to close price ratio. Confidence in the market 97 to 98, 96 to 98, 96 to 98, 98 to 99, 97 to 98, 99 to 97, and 99 to 101. Can we agree that once people list it at the right price, they get what they want?
Hmm.
Now, I'm going to go to the original price to close price ratio. Look at this. You see the numbers go down? 96 to 95,
Mhm.
95,
That's the
94.
original price. Oh
Yes.
wow, close price, original price. Wow.
So we have to understand that the reason we're not seeing 101, 100, 102 here or 99 here is because the properties were 10% overpriced.
Mhm.
Properties are 4 to 5% overpriced. Properties are almost 5 to 6% overpriced. So if we don't make this adjustment, we don't get an offer,
Mhm.
right? And that's how we are looking at when Bree, you're helping investors make a decision, like you're working with 7 of them right now, and they're making offers. They are looking at have they make an adjustment or not. If they have made an adjustment, then we are ought to give them an offer close to this price. But if they have not, then we are the ones helping them get to this number.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's look at one more thing. One more thing I want to look at is how many listings came off the market unsold. Look at this, guys. Number is not significantly going up.
Mhm.
There are homes that are coming on the market and they're selling. So that means there is confidence in the market. Now let's look at number of sales. How many homes are actually selling? July, once again, is not concluded, so let's not look at it. But there are more homes kind of sold in May and June of last year than this year. It is practically because we have more active listings. People have options. So it's taking a little bit longer to sell, and that's why the sold data is not showing right away. It's going to show overspread from few months. So that's a big factor that people have to acknowledge, that the sales are not like right now. This is probably the seventh listing this year, Bree, we are having where we got multiple offers on day 38 or 48.
Yep.
So the sales are not happening right away. They're happening a little bit spread out.
Yeah.
So that's one number to look at. Then another number I want to look at is, Bree, look at for our investors. We now have close price average for leases.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep.
We don't see your screen.
What?
It's showing sales number. I don't. If you have a different screen, I don't see it open.
it doesn't
Oh,
show
okay.
lease here. Yeah.
So I think it's a pop-up that opens. So you
Oh.
see how I'm going to sales number? I'm
Oh.
hovering over my cursor over that.
Yeah.
Okay. This drop down allows us to now look at the close price average for leases as well.
Oh.
Yep. So we can guide our people. So now what I want to show is days to sell on an average. Look at this. When people
Wow.
tell me that market is not doing well, last year in June, it took 30 days to sell properties. Now it's taking 16. 72 down to 10. 31 to 40, I call it almost the same. 86 to 71. 41, 47 to 41. Anytime you see a little bit of an anomaly, it's always the inventory for that month or so. But is it going up or going down?
Yeah.
Days are going down, and hence congestion and safety is what sitting is watching for. So what I'm trying to show today is that before you go on the market and just randomly put the property on the market or randomly emotionally decide to price adjust, talk to your agent broker and see if they are able to connect dots on these things for you, because your equity depends upon these factors that we just discussed. How many homes are coming on the market? How many are leaving? What is the list price to close price ratio? And what is the list price to original price ratio? How many days are we on the market? And how many homes are coming off the market unsold? So before we panic, we need to slow it down and analyze things for what they are, because equity left on the market is never retrieved. And an opportunity not to negotiate on the market where you deserve to is not something you're going to get back again in future. So think creatively, collaborate with people who are investing time in these things for you, and make educated decisions. In today's market, it's very common for people to make an emotional decision. So let's not do that. On that note, first of all, what was your thinking when you saw this? Do you think any homeowner, give me some feedback, why should a seller and a buyer look at these things with their brokers or agents?
Well, I was going to say, one thing to consider on both for a homeowner to consider in particular in this market is that buyers are taking a lot more time to make a decision. Number one, they're looking at a lot more homes, okay? And they want to see the home more than one time. I'm
Yeah.
running into that with a lot of the buyers, and we just actually are going under contract with 3 different people this week. And all the homes that they have chosen, they have seen it more than one time. And
Yeah.
all the homes have been sitting on the market for roughly between 25 to 35 days.
Yeah.
And so, we might have seen it when it came on the market at day 20 and waited a little bit of time. So for a homeowner, I would say someone that's looking to sell, don't be discouraged. Properties aren't always going to go off the market within a week or 2 weeks. That's not normal.
That's not normal
That was an
anymore.
anomaly.
Anymore.
And sometimes maybe it is if you price it, very, very, very competitively, right? And maybe you get stuff. But even then, buyers are kind of like, oh, they're pricing it that. Oh, maybe I can get more. That's what's in their mind, right? So, but looking at all of this data is great for both a homeowner and a buyer, because you can actually, it'll help you to make a decision on, number one, if, as a homeowner, what you should price your property at to be competitive. And as a buyer, how much should you be negotiating? Because sometimes people say, oh, I just want to negotiate $30,000. Well, where's this $30,000 coming from? If they are priced appropriately, right? Where's this gap in 30,000? You just made up a number, you just came up with it in your head. Like, let's look at the data and see what's going on so you don't miss out on an opportunity.
Thank you for saying that. And in today's market, I want homeowners to think about one thing. When you're deciding to go on the market, on one hand, a homeowner wants to get the most money for the property. On the other hand, they want to make sure it sells. So when a buyer is looking at a property, do you want most number of buyers to look at the property and like it? Or do you want buyers to look at it and not like what they're seeing? Because we cannot price the property at the highest price and still expect it to sell. Because when you price at the highest price, buyers are looking at it, but they're not liking what they're seeing. And if they don't like, Bree, what they see, what do they do? Do they write an offer?
No, they go to another home. They compare your home to another home that's priced better or has better updates or has a better floor plan than you, and they write the offer on that home because it looks like it provides more value.
Value. So as a home seller, in any market, regardless of it's a low inventory or high inventory market, it is our 100% responsibility to keep our eyes on the market like a hawk and observe what's happening to other homes. If we're not doing that, then you are losing money day after day after day. And
I
I'm
would
sorry to say that. You know, a lot of people think, oh, don't talk negative. It sounds manipulative. Don't talk about bad news. It sounds like you're trying me to get to do something. Well, I'm sorry that sometimes talking about things that nobody wants to talk about is what's really put people into action. Do you want somebody to talk to you and get you where you need to be, or you want them to keep saying pleasant things so you feel good and never achieve the result?
Yeah.
Because the day is going to come. And I can't wait to see that overpriced listing to see how they sell it, because we just closed on a property in that neighborhood and we know firsthand the challenge that neighborhood has.
Mhm.
If you have too many cars on the streets, it's a high tenant neighborhood. And
Yeah.
on a high tenant neighborhood, homes are not taken care of. So the values don't go up, values start to go down.
Yeah. And one more thing about that, I know we need to go soon, but when you're if you're a seller and you're wanting to price super high, think about if you're not getting an offer in a timely manner and you are going to adjust the price, you have carrying costs that are associated with staying on the market day after day. You have property taxes that you're still paying, you have the bills that you're still paying, you have the mortgage that you're still paying. So if you're trying to do something where like, oh, I just want to price it, a little bit higher, well, that little bit higher can turn into 30, 40, 50, 60 days on market, and by that time, buyers really want to negotiate.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think what you guys are really talking about is using reality as your decision point, like
Yeah.
taking a look at the numbers and basing your decision off the numbers.
Mhm.
For instance, we met an agent today, and he was talking about talking his landlord out of doing a rent raise, because if he raised the rent, the tenant would move out, and that time that the house would be vacant for, plus the cost of getting the place rented out again, is a natural deterrent, right? And
Yeah.
keeping the rent where it's at was a
Mhm.
natural better decision than raising it,
Mhm.
and they were able to keep the same tenant and not have to go through all of that. uh, I don't know what to call it, like gymnastics, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just about making good decisions based on what the numbers are saying.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Well, today we delivered 58 minutes and 28 seconds.
Do we have any properties that we want to look at real quick?
I love you guys so much, but I have to leave for a showing.
Definitely.
So.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, reach out to us for those properties.
I do have a lot of
Yeah.
great properties, though.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
we have
talking.
some really good investment properties that have just come on the market. So, guys, if you like what you had to hear today, just know this is the due diligence we do on weekly basis to position ourselves for you to make great decisions. And understand, real estate is a long-term game. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you next week, and we'll see you at the Coffee Social tomorrow.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.
bye, guys.